There's a lot of whining going on out there, and a considerable amount of it comes from the left, where their feelings get hurt or their emotions are insufficiently coddled, and somehow it's everyone else's fault. So this time I found a video by a feminist who thinks that all the bad things that happen on YouTube are somehow YouTube's fault, and somehow it's YouTube's job to fix it. I've addressed exactly this kind of thing in the past, and I pointed out that YouTube is a corporation designed to do one thing and one thing only: make money. Liberals somehow can't figure that out. So let's see how this feminist wine fest turns out as we look at sexism on YouTube. Honestly, trigger warnings are idiotic. If you're so weak-minded and weak-willed that you're terrified to look at anything because it might make you have a bad feeling or trigger some bad memory, you need to seek some serious professional help. It's not anyone's responsibility to warn you not to watch something. It's your own responsibility to determine whether or not something you might watch will be enjoyable or not. You might not always be right. Some things I've seen online I simply cannot unsee. That doesn't mean I blame others for not warning me beforehand.
We're just going to jump right into the thick of things with today's discussion on women of YouTube, sexism, feminism, and women's voices. In 2014, BuzzFeed released a video entitled "What It's Like to Be a Woman on YouTube." It zeroed in on one of the biggest problems that women face when producing content on the internet, and that is the comments section.
And guess what? You can turn that off if you want. But I think there's a lot of people out there who entirely misunderstand the internet. They think that comment sections exist only for supportive comments and honest questions. And they're wrong. Comment sections are open to absolutely anyone who watches your videos and wants to respond, good or bad. And I know there's a lot of people who haven't figured this out yet, but there are trolls on the internet. Yeah, I know, that's triggering, but it's true. There are people out there who comment for no other reason than to piss people off. You don't have to like it, but you can't pretend it isn't so, and if you just can't handle that undeniable fact, then you have no business being on the internet at all. This is just reality. I've seen other YouTubers point this out to these special little snowflakes, but they don't seem to get it. I think most recently, Teal Deer did a quite admirable job, so I'll post a link to that video in my description below to show that even atheists have a problem comprehending simple facts.
While scholars and marketing strategists attribute the comment capabilities on YouTube as one of its successes as a form of participatory culture, it has also formed into a vapid space for internet trolls. Comment culture is vile, and as blogger Janine Jacob puts it, can be like watching Jerry Springer with its rampant racism and sexism.
You are correct. It's called free speech, and not all speech is created equal. But when you defend free speech, as I do, you have to accept the bad speech with the good, because stifling any speech at all, at least speech which doesn't do any demonstrable legal harm, is damaging to the very concept of freedom. Now, you don't have to like the things that people say, and YouTube gives the ability to delete comments, or as I said, to simply turn off your comment section altogether. But what you don't have the right to do is to stop people from saying things you don't like. You have a modicum of control over your own personal channel. You can't stop what people say on their own.
On YouTube, as soon as a woman steps in front of the camera, one can expect the comment section to devolve into purely sexist, abusive, and derogatory messages almost entirely about her body.
Here's the thing though. People are always going to talk about your body. They do it to men too. They do it to everyone. They're going to talk about things that you don't want them to talk about. The more you let it be known that it bothers you, the more that you talk about subjects that are most likely to piss people off, the more those comments are going to come that you hate. The more of a target you make yourself, the more trolls are going to target you. Welcome to the real world. You will never eliminate the trolls from your channels. You can either whine and complain about it and play the victim, or you can refuse to let it bother you, at least outwardly, and limit factors that would attract them to your channel, and just deal with it like everybody else.
Emily Grassley, a science and education YouTuber, posted a video in November 2013 entitled "Where My Ladies At?" This broke form from her regular content to call out the types of sexist comments about her body that she has to sift through on videos about animal anatomy.
It happens to everyone. I'm sure even people like Neil deGrasse Tyson has trolls. But the secret of a lot of successful people is that either they don't read comments at all, or they just ignore the trolls and don't respond. But what a lot of feminists do, and I don't mean to just focus on feminists, but I see it happening quite a bit within their sphere, but they wear those troll comments like a badge of honor. It's like it's proof that they're being attacked and therefore their cause is just. Sorry, that's just not true.
As with the women in the BuzzFeed video, the focus was to expose the horrific comments they receive on every video they create and how it affects their work and their mental health.
This is BuzzFeed we're talking about. You know, clickbait stupidity designed only to inflame. That's what BuzzFeed does. Don't tell me you didn't know that.
Time and time again, female YouTubers are forced to cringe when faced with the comment section of YouTube. They are faced with the option of either ignoring them or disabling comments on their videos.
Well, the same choice everyone else has. If you go back through the videos that I've responded to, quite a few of them, and I wouldn't say it's mostly the religious ones, but quite a few of them have the comments turned off. They don't want to deal with criticism. They want to pretend that everyone agrees with them. But where this differs from a lot of feminist videos, they tend to thrive on conflict. They want to play the victim and pretend that everyone's out to get them. If the trolls just stop posting on feminist videos, I have no idea what they'd do with themselves because they wouldn't have anything else to talk about.
Many do neither of these, leaving comments open and reading through them because they believe in the opportunity for open and participatory discourse in hopes of finding constructive messages.
Make a choice. Keep to that choice. Don't make yourself a target. Don't get upset over everything. Accept reality. You know, the same thing everybody else on YouTube has to do.
These women are tired and angry that this is something that is normalized with their participation in online culture, but feel lost on what to do about it.
No, the ones who don't understand the comments are the people who complain about them. The rest of us get it. The rest of us acknowledge the existence of trolls. We might not like it, but we know we can't stop them, and we don't even try. The harder you fight against them, the more of them come out of the woodwork. You cannot eliminate them entirely, and to quote War Games, the only way to win is not to play. But if you're going to play, you have to understand the rules of the game, and understand that the rules aren't fair.
But it is the very creation of these videos that expose comment culture and bring the issue to the forefront to an audience who has either turned a blind eye or may not fully understand the volume and impact of these comments.
But in this case, it's usually the feminist content that draws in the trolls because they know they can get a reaction. If you go look at videos about racism, you know what kind of comments they get? Racist ones! You fundamentally do not understand the situation. It's like crying that Santa Claus didn't bring you a unicorn. Well, there's no Santa, and there are no unicorns. It's time to grow the hell up. Just because the world doesn't work like you wish it would, doesn't change reality.
Given the extreme sexism and misogyny these women deal with, it is even more challenging still to create content focusing on discussions of feminism. And yet, they are doing it. YouTubers like Francesca Ramsey, Akela Hughes, Megan Tonjes, Hannah Witten, Lacey Green, Megan McKay, and many others create videos that delve into topics of feminism and what it means to be a feminist. Side note, there are also many female YouTubers who do not speak directly on social issues in their content but are also worth watching. These previously named women speak out because they feel it is important to educate on issues like pay equity, women's health and sexuality, body positivity, sexism, as mentioned earlier, and cases of sexual harassment and assault.
So long as they continue to do so, and there are just as many channels out there who do point out exactly where these YouTube feminists are factually incorrect in their assertions, they will get disagreement, they will get insults, and, oh yeah, they will get trolls. It is entirely up to them how they wish to handle the comment section on their videos, but as with all things, actions have consequences, and disabling comments will likely get you even more criticism. You need to grow up and learn to deal with things like an adult.
In terms of discourse around sexual assault and harassment, some of you may immediately remember the disturbing series of events that came to light in 2014 within the YouTube community. In March of 2014, allegations arose against particular YouTubers interacting in sexually manipulative or abusive ways with their female fans.
It's actually kind of hard to abuse someone, especially sexually, online when either party can turn off their computer whenever they want. It's not like a physical rape where the victim is unable to simply walk away without consequence. Anyone taking part in these so-called online victimizations is, by definition, a willing participant. You willingly go to a site. You willingly remain on the site. You willingly engage another online individual. You really have no place to complain because things don't turn out the way you want. Now, I'm not going to excuse legitimate victimization by any means, but the idea that someone can be convinced by another person to do something against their will when they're entirely able to simply walk away, that's not that impressive to me. If you shoot yourself in the head because someone else told you to, you're an idiot.
Some of these young women chose to come forward in blog posts, others through posting candid videos on YouTube. I hate to say that these were not the first cases of reports of sexual abuse within the YouTube community between YouTubers and their fans. In 2012 and 2013, other cases were brought forward against Gregory J., Michael Lombardo, Ed Bland, Josh Macedo, and Kelly Montoya. But when allegations against YouTuber Tom Milsom came out in 2014, it sparked a ripple effect as other accounts from women started to arise about their abusive interactions with popular YouTubers. By the end of March, numerous allegations had been made against YouTubers Tom Milsom, Alex Day, Danny Hooper, and Alex Carpenter. The public outcry led to these creators having their names dropped from labels and companies, banning from YouTube conventions, and many of them removed their social media and left their YouTube accounts. Through the spring and summer of 2014, the topic of creator-fan responsibility and power relations became a topic of discussion at events and in the online community. YouTubers were forced to reevaluate the people they thought they knew and learn how to speak about topics of abuse with their own fans. Many YouTubers uploaded videos on the topic of consent and its absolute necessity. These videos were directed both at fans of YouTubers and YouTubers themselves.
And to be perfectly honest, I have no clue who any of those people are or were, as the case may be. I can't comment on any of those particular cases because honestly, I just don't care enough to go look it up. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret, one that I don't think a lot of YouTube content creators realize. Your followers are not your friends. Now that doesn't mean you can't make friends with individual followers, but the people that watch your videos are not automatically your buddies, nor do they necessarily have your best interests at heart. That's reality. So the idea that just because they click play or leave a thumbs up or post a comment that somehow you have a responsibility to them individually is just wrong. You do not. They're not your friends. They are customers and sometimes not even that. If your YouTube channel is a money-making affair, then they are at best potential customers unless they are already paying for your Patreon or watching ads or something like that. So honestly, why do you care so much what these people have to say? Why does it bother you so much? Be polite and maintain a professional distance.
It is with this in mind that makes the infamous case of Sam Pepper in September 2014 all the worse. Pepper, a prankster YouTuber, uploaded a prank video pinching the backsides of unexpecting women in public. Immediately, the YouTube community was disgusted by his behavior and another wave of public outcry began. Pepper attempted to defend himself by posting another video, explaining that the prank was part of a series to expose domestic violence. As you can imagine, this did not go over well. Women started to come forward with their own personal interactions with Pepper, leading to the YouTuber Lacey Green creating an open letter after many women came to her personally. She discussed the case at length in her own videos despite threats on her life from Pepper and his fans. Within days of the Pepper case, though otherwise completely unrelated, YouTuber Anya Magliano Wright made a video with allegations against YouTuber Jason Sampson, leading to more women to come forward yet again.
Well, that's a different matter, though. That's an actual real-life assault that I would wager is against existing law pretty much everywhere in the real world. So he committed an illegal act and posted it on YouTube. That's not particularly bright, but we already have the means to prosecute said acts in the real world. So, how many people called the police on Pepper? After all, he did post the evidence on YouTube. It isn't like he can deny it. So, was he arrested? Was he prosecuted? Is he in jail? Was he fined? If not, why not? Did no one bother to alert the authorities? There seems to be this really bizarre belief that going to the police isn't how people handle actual crimes, but making videos and blog posts and Instagram pictures and telling a bunch of faceless strangers online about it, well, that somehow magically works. No, it doesn't.
So, what do all of these examples of sexist comments, topics of feminism, and YouTubers and sexual abuse have to do with one another, other than painting an incredibly depressive picture? Each of these showcase the importance of women's voices on YouTube.
Which would be fine if said women's voices actually said something worthwhile. Most of the time they don't, at least in my opinion, although you're certainly welcome to have your own views. If something legitimately happens to you, find a cop, report it, have the offender prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But if what they're doing isn't illegal, it just makes you feel bad in your pathetic little safe space, then shut the fuck up. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. I couldn't care less if it makes you feel bad. Your emotional response to nasty things said to you in the comments of a YouTube video means jack shit. Grow a spine and learn to stand up for yourself. It's not that hard.
In a place that is so open without influence from the higher powers at YouTube, it is up to the audience and community to take on a role of self-policing. Though YouTube's freedom for expression without gatekeeping by its overseeing corporation are often what makes YouTube special and intriguing, it can also be what leads to the biggest downfalls.
Because YouTube the corporation isn't in the business of making your precious little snowflake feelings hurt less. They aren't going to come kiss your boo-boos, and they shouldn't. They're in business to make money, and money comes from the big channels getting millions of hits and having millions of eyes on their advertising. It doesn't come from some little feminist channel that demands special hand-holding. You're not worth it to them. You don't make them enough money. You're a drop in the bucket. If you went away, they wouldn't even notice, except maybe that the constant irritating droning in their ear might be a little less annoying.
YouTube, the corporation, has not been able to solve the problem of filtering vile comments. It is not great at promoting its female creators, and it is awful at removing those creators who are in fact criminals, unless it starts to look bad on the company.
It isn't YouTube's job to remove criminals. That falls to the criminal justice system. Once those individuals are tried, convicted, and sentenced and are behind bars, then you can go talk to YouTube. But since those people won't be making any more content, their channels will just fall into disuse anyway, and everybody's going to forget about them.
Here is where the YouTube community has stepped up to do this self-policing. Creators call out the misogyny for what it is, they try to counter sexism with promoting feminism.
But they have no actual ability to do anything but point and complain. They can't force YouTube to take any action at all. Yeah, they can generate bad publicity, but YouTube could also just decide to throw off all the complainers, and there would be nothing at all you could do about it.
And they look out for and support those brave enough to come forward about assault cases within the community.
There are no actual assault cases within the community because the community is wholly online. Any actual cases of assault that take place in the real world, those aren't part of the YouTube community. And in many cases, promoting feminism also promotes sexism. So there's that too.
Women are making their voices heard. They refuse to be silenced. But by no means has the battle been won.
Well, you're welcome to make your voices heard. I encourage that. But you have to realize that all actions, like it or not, come with consequences. You can say what you want within YouTube's acceptable use policy, but if you say things that people don't like, they have just as much right to point out your stupidity and sexism and misandry and hatred, either in the comment section of your own video or in their own videos, and there are lots and lots of channels out there that are devoted to doing just that. And doing that isn't hatred, it's reality.
What are your thoughts? What do you think YouTube, the corporation, could do to support its women YouTubers? How can the YouTube community work on making it a safer space for female creators? Even just leave a comment suggesting a woman YouTuber you might recommend.
It's not YouTube, the corporation's job to support women. It's YouTube, the corporation's job to make money for their investors. That's what they exist to do. That's what any corporation exists to do. Why are you so utterly unaware of this? How much money do you think that your channel, with your 32 subscribers, brings to YouTube and its parent company, Google? 0? Well, that's pretty much how much you're worth to them. Why is it that so many leftist liberals haven't got the slightest idea what corporations do? They don't exist to make you happy. They don't exist to take care of you or encourage free speech. They exist to make money, full stop. But I see so many videos, especially from the left, telling corporations to do things that are simply not in their best financial interests, to buy into ideologies that hurt their primary mission, making money for their stockholders. But you have the left constantly screaming, "We're not happy." Well, life's a bitch. Get over yourselves. It's no one's responsibility to make you happy but your own. Stop trying to put it on others. Especially stop trying to put it on corporations who have better things to worry about than your precious little feelings. Maybe instead of being terrified that somebody might say something that you don't like, maybe instead of retreating into the echo chambers of your pathetic little safe spaces, maybe you ought to just grow up, get a life, grow a spine and a thicker skin, and learn to deal with the real world, not how you wish it was, but as it actually is. Reality doesn't bow to your wishes and desires. It doesn't care. It is what it is. Deal with it and move the fuck on.